Did you know that right this second, inside every single one of your cells, there's this incredible delivery service running completely nonstop? It is without a doubt one of the most elegant and essential processes in your entire body, making sure your cells get exactly what they need right when they need it.
So let's kick this off with a kind of funny question. How does a cell order takeout when it doesn't have a door? I know it sounds a little silly, but it's a genuine biological problem. Your cells constantly need to bring in vital supplies from the outside world, but they can't just, open up. So how do they get those specific orders delivered? All right, so let's really dig into this delivery problem, because when a cell's life depends on getting very specific packages, you're going to need a system that's a whole lot more sophisticated than just knocking on the gate and hoping for the best. I want you to think about it like this. A cell's outer membrane is basically the ultimate gated community. The security is top-notch, protecting everything precious inside. But that incredible security also creates a huge challenge for getting specific, pre-approved packages delivered. So the cell really has two options. It could just sort of scoop up a random handful of whatever's floating around outside, which is a pretty clumsy and inefficient approach. But for critical supplies, things like cholesterol or iron, it absolutely cannot afford to be clumsy. It needs a special delivery system, one that can pick a single vital package out of a sea of millions. So how does this incredibly selective system actually work? Well, to get it, we've got to meet the key players in this whole operation. It's time to meet the delivery crew. First up, you've got the ligand. The easiest way to think about this is that it's the valuable package itself, the thing that needs to be delivered. This could be LDL-carrying cholesterol, something called transferrin-carrying iron, or even various hormones. Next, we have the receptor. Now, these are the real secret to the whole system. They sit on the outside of the cell and are basically specialized mailboxes. Each one is perfectly shaped for only one specific type of package. It is a true lock-and-key system, which ensures the cell only gets mail that's actually addressed to it. And this is where it gets really, really cool. To bring that package inside, the cell needs a container. The answer is a protein called Clathrin. Each molecule has this unique three-legged shape, and they link together, weaving a strong, cage-like basket that looks almost like a miniature soccer ball. But how does that Clathrin basket know where to form? Well, that's the job of the adapter proteins. These guys are the crucial middlemen, the dispatchers of the operation. One end grabs onto the receptor, and the other end calls over the Clathrin, basically shouting, "Hey, over here, build the basket right here." And finally, once that basket is built and it's started pulling the membrane inward, you have to seal the deal. You got to cut the package free. That's where dynamin comes in. This amazing enzyme forms a spiral right around the neck of that budding vesicle, and then, with a burst of energy, it twists and pinches it completely off. Okay, so we've met the whole crew. Now let's put them all together and watch this incredible 5-step delivery process in action. It all kicks off with binding. The package finds its specific mailbox on the surface. That's the signal for assembly, where the adapter proteins and the Clathrin crew start building their basket on the inside. As they build, the membrane gets pulled inward. That's invagination. Then comes the big finale, scission, where dynamin twists the vesicle completely free. And finally, once it's safely inside, the basket isn't needed anymore, so it just falls apart in a process called uncoating. Now, you might be thinking, okay, package is inside, job done, right? Well, not even close. The process is far from over. In fact, what happens next is just as amazing, and it all depends on what's in the package. So, what controls what happens next? What's the secret to all this internal sorting? Believe it or not, it's acid. Yep. Once inside, that little vesicle fuses with sorting compartments called endosomes. And here's the key. As it moves along, each compartment gets more and more acidic. That drop in pH is the trigger that tells the receptor exactly what it needs to do. And this is where you see the sheer genius of the system. For cholesterol, the receptor acts like a simple delivery driver. In that acidic environment, it drops off the whole package and then rushes right back to the surface, empty. But for iron, it's more like a specialized courier. It unloads only the iron, but it holds onto the empty container and escorts it all the way back outside before finally letting go. It's just incredibly clever. And just to give you a sense of the speed we're talking about, let's put that LDL receptor on the clock. At time 0, it binds cholesterol on the surface. By just 2 minutes in, it's already inside the cell. At the 5-minute mark, it hits that acidic endosome and releases its cargo. And by 10 minutes, a mere 10 minutes, that empty receptor is back on the surface ready for another trip. So the main takeaway here is that this whole thing is a beautiful pH-driven sorting machine. A simple change in acidity dictates these incredibly complex and totally different sorting decisions. It is chemical elegance at its absolute finest. Okay, this molecular dance is fascinating, no doubt. But why is it so fundamentally important for our actual health? Let's zoom out and look at why this tiny mechanism matters so much. To really get why this matters, let's start with the sheer, mind-boggling efficiency. A single LDL receptor has a lifespan of about 20 hours. In that short time, because it's making a round trip every 10 minutes, it can complete hundreds, literally hundreds, of individual deliveries. And this constant, tireless cycling is what keeps our bodies in balance. It's how we clear dangerous cholesterol from our blood to protect our hearts. It's how we deliver the iron our blood needs to carry oxygen. But this perfect gateway also has a vulnerability. It is so effective that things like the flu virus have figured out how to hijack it to get inside and infect our cells. And that brings us to the most critical thought of all. We've just seen how unbelievably elegant and precise this system is. So what happens when it breaks? What happens when even one tiny part of this perfect machine goes wrong? The answer, as it turns out, is at the very root of diseases that affect millions of people. Everything from heart conditions to devastating viral infections.